everyone! My name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, hello! Welcome to the spooky season vlog. This is going up on November 1st, so I hope all of you have had a wonderful spooky season, have had a great Halloween, and are enjoying this Friday after the fact. Today is officially, let me put you down. Today is officially October 25th. And we're gonna be starting this vlog where I'm gonna try and tackle some of the spooky books on my TBR. I'm holding up this one, not knowing if it's a spooky book, but knowing, this one right here, but knowing it is a choose your own adventure mystery. So it works. But I got 6 books physically available to me right now for this TBR. We got Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. We've got The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. We've got White Horse by Erica T. Worth. All of This and More by Peng Shepherd. The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. And finally, The Haunting of Velkwood by Gwendolyn Kist. These books, all 6 of them, are very varied in their genres and subgenres, if you will. So we have everything from gothic to mystery to thriller to, I don't know what Camp Damascus counts as, horror thriller to unease with The Haunting of Velkwood. So I'm excited to get into this. I think this is a good dabbling of spooky books I could possibly read. But yes, my friends, hopefully I enjoy myself. Hopefully I have a very spooky time. This is gonna be all the way up to Halloween. So I got lots of time between right now, which is currently Friday, and Thursday, which is Halloween, to read these iconic, amazing, spooky season books, if you will. So welcome to the vlog. Let's get this thing fucking started. It's officially Saturday, and I'm here with an update because I've started reading the very first book of this challenge. I put it up to a poll on my Instagram, actually. I also apologize for the sound of my laundry in the background. I put it up to an Instagram poll, including this one, White Horse, Haunting of Velkwood, and The Writing Retreat, as a like, what should I start with first? Because I wasn't entirely sure. I was just gonna leave it up to chance. Camp Damascus won out by like 3 votes. It was a very tight race. So I'm excited about that. This book is not what I expected at all. So on the back, it gives us literally nothing. It says, something is wrong in Neverton, Montana, and that something isn't me. Welcome to a God-fearing community with a heart of gold. Nestled high up in the mountains is Camp Damascus, the self-proclaimed most effective gay conversion camp in the country. Here, a life free from sin awaits, but the secret behind that success is anything but holy. From Chuck Tingle, beloved internet icon, comes a searing and earnest horror debut about the demons the queer community faces in this country, the price of keeping secrets, and finding the courage to burn it all down. So from the title and from the back, and I don't know why, maybe like my impression of like what people have talked about on the internet about this book, my thought was that this was a horror novel set at a camp with a bunch of kids as our protags. I was thinking something along the lines of Andrew Joseph White's books with a bunch of queer kids like battling this horror that's happening. I really want to read that book, but this is not that book. We are following our main character Rose, who is an extremely devout 20-year-old woman, as she is starting to experience some horrifying shit in her life. She comes back from what she didn't realize was a date. She was like, no, I was just hanging out with my friends and going cliff jumping. Like, what? And then the guy who she thinks is her best friend, like, tries to kiss her. And then when she's just like, what the fuck? He is like, and then punches his car and leaves. And then her parents are like, oh, how was your date? So they like knew. It was very strange. And then she starts vomiting flies at the dinner table. And she's also seeing this like woman who's terrifying everywhere, and it's causing her to need to go to more therapy, and her parents are worried about her but not really saying like why. And well, I mean, obviously when you're vomiting flies, it's a little concerning. and it's just this like slow development until Rose herself realizes that she is gay, and the thoughts about being gay are what is triggering these things. Like she ends up getting into a horrible car crash at one point, and she sees this demon, and she's like, why the fuck is this demon scared of fire? Like, her car lights on fire, right? So she's like, why is it scared of fire? This doesn't make any sense at all. Demons should be fine with fire. Why is this one scared of fire? And so at the hospital, like, she starts getting these, she wanders down the hallway in the middle of the night, like, just, you know, because she's there and she's like a resident there for a little bit, so she's gonna go get like a snack. And she sees a gay movie on in another room, and just watching that gay movie like conjures the demon again. Pakid, her demon is called. Then when she gets back to her room, she's like, I'm gonna do a little experiment. So she conjures up this like image of this perfect man and her on like a honeymoon, and he's like shirtless, like all of these kind of suggestive type of thoughts. And she like realizes, like, she's like, I don't really give a shit about this. Like, this doesn't do anything for me. And it does not conjure the demon. But the second she starts thinking about this girl that she's had in her head for a while, that's when the demon shows up and breaks her finger. So like, it's like this fear tactic. And she's like, what the fuck? So now I'm just about like 44% of the way through. And so she's trying to figure out what the fuck is, like, what her shit is. And we've barely touched on Camp Damascus. I thought this was set at Camp Damascus. I was fully expecting a horror novel with a cast of characters of all these different gay kids at this conversion camp, realizing these horrors and having these horrifying things happen to them, and then have them like try and get free from it and like show the world like how horrible it is. Like, that's what I thought this book was. It is very much not that. So my impression of this so far is that Homegirl has been like brainwashed into forgetting that she was even at Camp Damascus at one point. She completely forgot that she was gay, but she remembered. She's now like, no, I am gay. Like, this is what the fuck. Like, and she's like trying to figure out all this stuff, and now she's like breaking into her therapist's office to like see, because her therapist is something. Her last session with him before she got in the car crash, it was like literally right before, like, she asked him basically like, why do you have all of these Christian things on your wall that you've done, like different programs that he's done specifically that are Christian, and you don't have your doctorate up on the wall? You're a doctor. And he's like, oh, I've learned more from the Bible than I have from any medical textbook. And immediately I was like, that's suspicious. That's suspicious. So on a scare factor, this is not very scary. I, as someone who is very much not religious, but I was raised in a religious family, just not like a super crazy devout one, you know? Like, we occasionally went to church, and then we stopped, and then only went to church on Christmas, and then we've stopped that too, which is good because I feel so uncomfortable in churches. Just in general, the atmosphere, I feel very uncomfy. Although I will say, Christmas Mass, beautiful. It's always gorgeous, especially with the singing. It's so lovely. Anyways, yeah, I do not believe in God. This is no hatred to you if you are religious in any way. I just, no. I find it fascinating, not Christianity or Catholicism. I don't find that fascinating at all. I find it quite often toxic and terrible from the way that it's, you know, examined and trauma and all that kind of stuff. But I find religion very interesting when it's used in fiction and stuff like that. And I usually steer very clear from books that are very heavily religious. But I knew going in that this was like a gay conversion camp, and it was very religious. I just didn't realize it was this religious. Homegirl is very, very like, God will save me. Well, she was at the beginning. She's not like that anymore. Right now, she's just like, what the fuck? And now her community is more like, God will save you kind of vibes. And very, very oppressive with their views about like what women should do and what women should be. So that's interesting, I will say. But yeah, usually I steer very clear away from books like this because it just does not interest me. Catholicism and Christianity does not interest me at all. I'm interested to see where this goes. The scariest part of this so far has been her therapist. I'm interested to see what Chuck Tingle does, because I've read previously Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle, which was a very interesting take on a body horror slasher-esque type of narrative that was like mixed with a touch of sci-fi with like the AI situation near the end. Like, it was very interesting. It didn't quite hit for me, and like the horror elements didn't quite work, but the conversation being had at the core of that book was what made it shine for me. So I'm really interested to see where Chuck takes this, because this is his debut horror. We shall see how this one goes, but I am enjoying it so far, I will say. Like the audiobook is also very good. I usually have it in my ear. It's very well written and it's like moving very well. So I got 56% of this left to go and we will see what homie comes up with in the end here. I'm very intrigued. I'm very intrigued to see how everything kind of like burns in the end of this. But yeah, I don't know why I was expecting like kids at a camp. So if you guys know of a horror book that is actually like that, let me know in the comments, because maybe I got it mixed up with one. Maybe an Andrew Joseph White is that, where it's a bunch of kids at a camp, like a gay conversion camp, and it's like all these horrifying thriller elements coming through. Like there's something at the camp that's worse than they anticipated than just like the adults being dicks. I don't know why I thought that that's what this was, but I've been bamboozled for the past 6 chapters. I guess I'm just about to start chapter 7. Bamboozled about that, because this is not what I expected at all. I don't know if I've misheard what people are marketing. I really don't know. So here's me remarketing it to you. This is a very interesting kind of psychological horror about this girl who discovers some shit about her and her community, and it's slowly unwrapping like a trauma that they did to her. I think that's what's going on. I will let you know how it is at the end actually, but first read, not too bad. Not too bad. Hello friends, it is officially Sunday now. I am almost finished, I don't even know, 60% of the way through The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz, and this one is much more eerie and thrillery than the previous one was. Maybe not even eerie or thrillery, but like unsettling, I would say. Unsettling is probably the word for it. This essentially is following our main character, Alex, who is going on this writing retreat, which comes at a time where she's had writing block for a year because she had a big falling out with like her best friend exactly a year ago. And her best friend was extremely like manipulative, toxic, and like kind of forcing her into sexual things. A little weird. And Alex hasn't written anything since. But she gets this opportunity because one of her friends who's just published a book is like, hey, I pulled some strings and you're accepted into this writing retreat, and so is Ren, your old best friend. So they go on this writing retreat and it's a little weird. It's like with her favorite author running it, and it's like it has stakes to it because as they arrive, they suddenly realize, like as they arrive and like get settled and stuff, Rosa, the author, is like, hey, by the way, this is going to be like a competition. You essentially have 28 days to write an 81,000 word manuscript. And this is what's going to happen. You're going to write 3,000 words every day of a fresh, brand new manuscript. And you're going to submit it under my door. And then you're also going to read and edit everyone else's work the next day. So you're essentially reading and editing for other people's 3,000 words every day, writing your own 3,000 words every day. And so by the end of this, she's going to pick one of them to get published and basically get $1 million advance, which is crazy. These stakes are huge, but also the burnout is insane. But it's at this like beautiful Gothic manor that has some history to it. And our main character ends up kind of unlocking a story in her about this manor and like this woman that used to live there or something. It's like a historical fiction thrillery type thing. And it's unsettling because like things aren't happening that are weird, but it's just unsettling. Like it's a bunch of women together doing this retreat, and it's tension between Ren and who's the best friend, the ex-best friend, and Alex, and also kind of like Rosa's just a weird person as well. It's very strange. And like they're starting to delve into new, like kind of figure things out, and things are starting to kick into gear a little bit where I am, where like people like something's funny. So I'm enjoying it. The writing is very easy, fast, and smooth. Yeah, I'm 189 pages in. It's just about to start chapter 25. I'm gonna go to mom and dad's for dinner, but this isn't bad. The last like chunk here is definitely gonna have to blow me away to be anything more than like a 3.5 star, but it's good. And I mainly say that because thrillers and horrors and stuff like that just aren't my usual genre of book. So it's always like, oh, I don't know. Like they're enjoyable, they're entertaining, but they're just not something that I'm like, this is crazy, this is amazing, you know? That's what's up that is the update, The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. I did another poll on my Instagram, and this one won out of the 4 that I put up. So by like 1 vote, it was very tight this time. So love that. Very excited to keep going with that. And I think next is going to be White Horse by Erica T. Worth, I think. But yeah, this is kind of enjoyable. I like the difference between this one and Camp Damascus. Definitely different tone, different structure, different everything. Like this one's a typical like thriller kind of a thing, like an isolated, it's set in February, so there's a shit ton of snow and it's insular kind of like, and then there were nun vibes. It's all in this one house. I'm excited to see where this goes from here. So I'll let you know how I feel when I finish it, but second book is going okay. Hello, friends. I realized that I was not actually updating you when I was finishing the books for this video. I was just updating you when I was halfway through the books so far. So far, I have finished 2 books. So this one gets 2.5 stars and this one gets 3.5 stars. So we can only go up from here. So Camp Damascus, I didn't really like this very much. As I said earlier in this vlog, I expected it to be something completely different, which is on me and not like engaging with the marketing or like reading the back of the book. Well, no, even the back of the book doesn't give me anything, but like engaging with it more than, or reviews of it more than I was, and building up an expectation in my head that was not even close to what I was gonna get. But even once I realized that that's not what I was going to get, this book was just not for me because of the way it was structured. Like it was not a thriller, a horror, or anything to that extent. It wasn't structured in the way that I was expecting it to be, like a traditional thriller is going to be, which is a very Chuck Tingle thing to do because he kind of did that with Bury Your Gaze as well. So I like the way he is kind of subverting these genre expectations with these books. And the conversations that he's having with these books are very interesting. And like the horror of this book is what the church does to gay kids. That is what it is. It does pull some supernatural elements in. It does do different things, but overall it was just slow and it was kind of boring, and I didn't like the way it was laid out. I didn't like that we were just in this little white girl's head who was extremely devout. It just was not for me. I liked that it was sapphic. We love that. And I did like some elements of it, but anyways, 2.5 stars for this one. But yeah, if you have any religious trauma, please steer very fucking clear of this, because this whole book was a lot of me going, because even though I am not religious, and I really have never been religious, even though I was raised in a Christian household, a Catholic household, I don't actually know the difference between Christian and Catholic. Don't even explain it to me. I don't really care. But like, we were raised going to church when I was younger, and then we kind of phased out of that. But like, my mom, I think, still believes in God. I know my grandparents do, but I don't have religious trauma in any kind of way or shape or form because I just wasn't put through that. So I don't have any trauma coming towards this book, but I also don't enjoy reading about Christianity or Catholicism. I don't enjoy reading from protagonist point of views who are very religious. It just does not work for me. So I think that's what did not work for me. I really wish this was the book that I had thought it was, you know, that it was set at a camp with a bunch of kids who are at this conversion camp who don't want to fucking be there because they're like, listen, this is not how it fucking works. And then all the adults are out to get them, and then suddenly some terrifying shit's happening. So if you guys know of that book, tell me what it is in the comments, because I don't know where that book went. It's living in my brain, I guess. This one, The Writing Retreat by Julia Bartz. This one did kind of work for me. I will say it's too sexual. There's too many sexual things in here for it. I just don't enjoy sexual stuff in my thrillers. It's just weird, okay? It was too much. You do have to suspend your disbelief at the end quite a bit. I'm not gonna lie, there was some weird bits in there that I'm like, if I think about this too hard, it kind of falls apart. But I do like how Julia Bartz worked with this concept that she had, and like the writing retreat and the weird purveyor of this writing retreat and who was the bad guy, and like pulling at the strings of all this and all this kind of stuff. And when the action hit the fan at the end and like everything kind of slowly grew into this holy shit, what is actually happening here, it did kind of keep blowing up, but it did kind of come down in some instances, and then it kept going up again and then coming down. but it did keep momentum towards the end. But the one thing at the end that bothers me so much, the actual choice our main character makes to just go back into the room instead of doing anything to the bad guy at the end, without spoiling as much as I can. That choice bothers me so much. Like, I know she probably couldn't have done anything, but like, you've worked so hard in this ending to save your friends and the other people here. You've seen so many different people die. Wouldn't you want to try and do something to stop this person from doing any more damage in the world? Like, anyways. But yeah, the ending, like, it was a very, very dramatic choice. And then, like, the next page was 6 months later. So the very ending didn't quite work for me, which is usual with thrillers, but I did enjoy this. Like, it left me genuinely uneasy. I was reading it, and then when I was driving, I took a break, and then I drove to my parents' place for dinner, and then I came back. But like, driving to my parents' place, I was uneasy. Like, I was left with like a gentle like anxiety haze, like not even like, oh my god, I'm so anxious, like my heart rate up. It just unease. And I think that's what this book did really well. It kind of pulled at female relationships, the toxicity of these relationships, and they can get the control of like two women in a relationship. There's like an alpha woman and alpha, you know, in the relationship, who like can manipulate the fuck out of the other one, and that kind of a thing. But yeah, like, it worked for me. Also, I was just in it for the stakes, because I was like, how the fuck are you gonna write 3,000 words every fucking day? That's insane. You're gonna be so burnt out. Holy shit. One of those things. So that's those two books. 3.5 star, and Camp Damascus was a 2.5 star. Now we have these three options that are calling my name. I do really would really like to have like all three of these done by the end of the week. I don't know if that's gonna happen. And then I also have, of course, all of this and more as an option as well. That one's more of a choose your own adventure type situation. I don't actually know if it's like a mystery or a thriller. I just assume it is, because it's a choose your own adventure. But these are the options of what's coming next, which I'm very excited to get to. I'm most excited about these two, the Hacienda and White Horse, just because the Hacienda is from Isabel Cañas, who I really enjoy her work, and then White Horse is by an Indigenous writer, and I love Indigenous thrillers so fucking much. And then I'm really intrigued about The Haunting of Milkwood. So, and these are all like fairly small books, so I feel like I could pop them off at some point. But anyways, that is the update of where we're at for this spooky vlog. So I will update you with what I am picking next and how that's going. Hello friends, happy Halloween. I'm just about to hop on to a cozy stream. I figured, why not do a cozy stream on Halloween? Why not? And today I went to the library and picked up this T. Kingfisher book, The Twisted Ones, and I kind of want to read that tonight. So I just might. But yeah, I just wanted to pop in and say hey. I also finished the entirety of White Horse yesterday by Erica T. Worth, which was quite good, actually. It's not a perfect book in any means. I have some trouble with a little bit of the storytelling that it was doing right at the beginning, because there was a lot of something would happen and then we'd skip forward and then she'd explain what she did about it, and then we kept doing that. Like, she just kept like telling instead of just like naturally letting the narration flow, and it felt a little disjointed. But overall, I thought it was okay. That's such a funny angle. Oh, my hand is like right here. I thought it was okay. I thought it was pretty good. Definitely had an interesting narration, interesting storytelling. It's about our main character, Carrie, and she is an Indigenous woman who's like 35-ish, and she isn't really down on her luck, but she doesn't have like a partner or anything. She's thinking about buying the bar, the White Horse, and her cousin Debbie is like her only friend at this moment. And Carrie also has a disabled father who was in a drunk driving accident after her mom left when she was like 2 days old. He has been disabled since. He is unable to really do anything, and he doesn't really talk. She's been taking care of him for the longest time. Carrie also lost her like best friend Jamie to drug use a number of years ago, and that kind of crushed her. But like the clincher for this whole thing is that Debbie gives Carrie a bracelet that Debbie's mom, who's like an auntie to Carrie, Debbie's mom found this bracelet that was Carrie's mom's. And it's a very, very powerful bracelet. And like immediately they know that like there's something up with this bracelet. And then it unlocks something in Carrie where she can start seeing her mother's ghost and also this monster that is haunting her. So both of them are haunting her. It's very spooky. She can like, she sees visions and stuff like that because of this bracelet. So that is kind of the clincher to the whole thing. I do recommend it. I do recommend it. Check trigger warnings if you need to. Lots and lots of smoking, talking of drug abuse and alcohol and all that kind of stuff. Whiskey's on like every page. It was good though. I really enjoyed it. And the audiobook narrator is fantastic. So anyways, I'm gonna jump on this, and then I think after this, I'm gonna read. Hopefully I can polish off one last book for this video today, but so far, I think my favorite of all of the books that I've read so far, which is 3, my favorite I think is White Horse, right? White Horse, The Writing Retreat, and then Camp Damascus. I think that's how it would go. I also really wanna read The Haunting of Velkwood, but I don't know. We'll see what I end up reading after this. I can always save the twisted ones for later, but I got lots of options. So anyways, that's the update. Happy Halloween. I'm gonna do a cozy stream. Y'all, I don't even know where my remote is. I got a soundscape on. I've been crying. Oh my Christ. Well, friends, it is officially November 1st, technically. It is just about 1 in the morning. And I have finished the last book of this vlog. The Haunting of Velkwood. And it was the best one of this vlog. It was so good. Holy fuck. Oh my god. I don't even know how to describe this book, y'all. It had me by the throat. I could not stop. Wow. It's blurbed on the front by Rachel Harrison as one of the most original ghost stories you'll ever read. And yeah. So it's about our main character, Talitha, who is one of the 3 survivors of this like paranormal event that happened that like captivated the nation for a bit, where their neighborhood, like their stretch of this neighborhood, was like enveloped in this veil or something, and no one's been able to go into it except for them. They have never gone back into it. One girl, so there's 3 girls. There's her, there's Talitha, there's Grace, and there's Brett. And Grace went back, and when she came out, she was in there overnight. People said that like she was in Velkwood. She'd gone through Velkwood, because people have tried to go into Velkwood and you're only allowed to go in from one direction, and the neighborhood will push you out if you were not from there. So it will literally physically push people out. It does not accept what is not from there. So the 3 survivors from this, the 3 people who got out, can go back. And as I said, Grace went back overnight, and when she came out, she was never the same. She's psychologically damaged. She is living in the past, and she's bought a house, and she's basically locked herself in it for 10 years and has never gotten out and never gone out, and she's trapped in the past and all this terrible stuff, and she doesn't talk to the other 2 girls anymore and what have you. But at the beginning of this book, our main character, Talitha, is approached by Jack, who is a researcher, and she's like, this is nothing new, people have been doing this for years, but he is the one who brings drone footage, which is hard because anything that tries to enter this neighborhood crumbles within minutes. But he got a picture of Talitha's house, and Talitha at first says no, that she's never going back there, she's not going to help him with his research or anything, but she's looking at this photo of her house, and she sees her baby sister in the window. This baby sister that she lost 20 years ago, right? In this event. She lost her baby sister and her mom because they were trapped there. And so she's like, I see Sophie, I need to go back. And so she goes back, and it's this, she can go in, and she goes into this town, and the researcher is like, okay, you have an hour, set the timer, come back out in an hour. and she goes and she sees her neighborhood for the first time, and she sees all these people for the first time, and they're stuck in this cyclical same day over and over. It's summer in this bubble of time, and a couple of the boys who live on the street have their faces like torn away in a smudge because of something that happened, and all of them can't see her. None of them can see her except for Enid, who is the girl that they left behind, who is the fourth of their 4-girl group or whatever. She stayed behind. She was left behind. She can see. Enid can see Talitha when she comes in. And then slowly, because Talitha goes back, she finally leaves after the hour, and then all the researchers are like, you've been gone for 3 months. So time is fucky, time is weird, and it's this slow coming to terms with grief and loss and your past and all of these terrible things that happened, and it hit me like a fucking truck. Like, this book had me. I like the dread I was feeling. This is not a thriller. It's not even unease. It is just this, kind of like pressure. This was a fucking fabulous book. Oh my God. Anyways, so that's done. This was so good. This was the best of all of them. I don't know what I'm gonna rate it. I'm gonna have to wait until I throw it through Copile. If you want to know, you follow me on Goodreads, I guess, or just wait for my wrap up, because that'll be going up soon. Next week, I guess. But wow, what a way to end this vlog. It was such a perfect choice for something otherworldly, and it's just like a ghost story like I've never come across. Holy shit. Someone on the back here, AC Wise, says it's a compelling read that reinvents the haunted house genre. God, it really does. It takes haunted house and haunted and ghost town and ghost stories and just turns that all on its head, and it's sapphic. So I'll leave it at that. Anyways, friends, wow. Okay, so I made it through 4 of the 6 spooky books for my spooky week vlog, my friends. And we just kept getting better. We started off on kind of a lower note with Camp Damascus, and then we read The Writing Retreat, which got better, and it worked for me. And then White Horse was also quite a good book that I read yesterday. And then we ended with the pièce de résistance. Wow. This was a wow for me. This is a wow. I don't even know how to explain it, what this is like. This is nuts. Wow. Okay. But yeah, so this is everything that I read for this vlog. What a spooky dooky time. What a time. Anyways, friends, thank you so much for watching. I'm really glad I did this. I got 4 books off my TBR, all of the spooky books that I wanted to read. It was the perfect time of year to do it, and I got a whole vlog out of it too. So I'll catch you in another video very, very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.